Simple truth. All Donald Trump has to do is to say, listen, I'm going to humble myself in the face of the American people and the world public, but I've been wrong. I'm guilty of this, and this transgression. We are forgiving people. We're Christians, right? We believe in atonement, rehabilitation, forgiveness. He has to throw himself, contrary to his outsized ego, he has to throw himself on the mercy of the American people and world public opinion. Okay, and there's one strategy that we can use as people that will help him, that will help nudge him to this position of atonement. Right. And the notion of atonement also has a very strong Judaic resonance as well. So he's going to be able to come clean to all the communities in the United States and in the world. But we can make our appeal not so much to Donald Trump, but to Melania Trump. Go straight to her and say, you are a woman. You worked in a profession where we know this certain system operates under the guise of modeling, acting, the international trafficking of beauty and intelligence. This is how you came to. You can help us, we Americans. You can help us heal by persuading your husband, Donald Trump, the President of the United States, that he needs to throw himself at the mercy of a court of a public opinion and apologize. Start with an apology. Start with a sincere apology for your transgressions. You can start slow. You can say, well, I haven't been forthcoming. I haven't been able to really stay on top of developments. And then he can gradually work us into some of the more nefarious activities that he might have been involved with. And we're going to listen. And we're going to, if he asks for it sincerely, we're going to forgive him.
And if he doesn't do that, then what happens?
Oh, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be such a thoroughgoing outbreak of cynicism and opportunism and criminality in the streets. It's going to return to all our institutions because they've been waiting for this moment of vulnerability. It's going to be worse than it was prior to even the lockdown of 2020. It's going to come back with a vengeance. This is why it's so important for Donald Trump to atone for his sins. It is the day of atonement. Otherwise, his problems are going to be much higher magnitude than he could ever imagine.
Do you think that just releasing stuff, Epstein stuff, is just making the situation worse right now because it's all been doctored?
Yes. And speaking of doctored, I hope the memoirs of Virginia Giuffre are not doctored as well. There's always that possibility. That's why I want to obtain a advanced copy and go through it and see how it's being spun. Right, it's going through Alfred A. Knopf Publishers. It's a mainstream trade publisher. It's probably owned by Hachette or one of these globalist corporations. So I don't necessarily trust it. I do trust this book because it's not Alfred A. Knopf. It comes from you. It hasn't gone through a bunch of ideological editorial control and spin, right? So I'm not going to this blindfolded and say, well, it's supposedly Virginia Giuffre. It could be a big psyop for all we know, but we're gonna assess that. But we don't have to wait till October 21st. We can start now. Whenever Donald Trump shows up at a public event or a press conference, we simply turn his back on him.
You've had quite a few questions come in. Do you want to start going over them?
Absolutely.
All right. This is from Agent Orange. Do the JE files include financial crimes? And would it implicate politicians and kingpins?
I assume that the financial crimes are embedded in it, right? That's why Todd Blanche kept talking about massage. She's obsessed with massage because what he's involved with is giving the American public, the world public, a hand job. That's why he keeps talking about massage. He's a lascivious, voyeuristic hack. Todd Blanche. So yeah, they talk about Palm Beach. Palm, grease the palm, and the other part of the palm is a hand job. That's your Palm Beach, and that's your high crimes and misdemeanors there. Yeah, it's there. And both parties are affected. It's really the whole system that's being investigated here, that's under indictment. It's ugly. And it's not Democrats. Most people are sophisticated to know that it's not a partisan issue anymore. We're talking about the very soul of the American Republic that's under dispute right now. So yeah, financial, definitely.
Let me just add to that then, that Epstein's entire accumulation of wealth is one big financial crime. And during the Maxwell interview, questions about that were raised, for example, about the Wexner transfer of the property, about the Black transfer of the financial fees, the over 100 million. And Maxwell's response was, for example, with the Wexner property, that Giuffre would receive such things in exchange for the financial services he was rendering these people. And she said that he'd set himself up as someone who, if they'd been ripped off for $1 billion, he would try and trace that money down, return it to the rightful owner, and get a piece of the action. So what was your interpretation of what she said, about those things, Professor, and specifically about the transfer of the property and the money from Wexner and Black?
Well, she comes off as someone who's naive, ignorant of transactions that were going on right in front of her. Not to mention, probably she was implicated in them. She just lied her way through it, all the way through the day and a half of the proffer agreement. And Todd Grandy didn't challenge her on any of it because they're both on the same side of the bar. But she was implicated, and we don't even need to argue that point. She was convicted of all these crimes. She was convicted of perjury, correct? The real issue is that she is being put into a halfway house situation as a intermediate step to complete freedom, and she's going to get away with it. Will the court of public opinion allow that to happen? Not this time. Not this time. We have so much information out there. We have great authors who are putting this down in hard copy and are going public with this information. There's no way for these people to hide anymore. And they, even if they own Alfred A. Knopf Publishers or Condé Nast Publications, they can't control all the information anymore like they used to. So they need to atone for their sins. And maybe we can start afresh. It can happen. I sincerely believe it can happen.
Aren't things so precarious right now with what's going to happen next with Maxwell that perhaps a deal will be brokered with her whereby she's going to get released, 6 months to a year out or something when the story's not so hot?
Yeah, I think she's on her way out. I'm being real here. She's on her way out. The fact that her attorney, David Oscar Mark, was able to even get this proffer agreement hearing was the victory itself. The day and a half of testimony was just sort of a show. The fact that he can negotiate that. And by the way, if you read his bio, David Oscar Mark, it's glowing. I mean, there's a whole specialty in the field of criminal law that focuses just on white collar crime, and he's a specialist in it. He's won multiple. He's a fairly young attorney too. He's at the top, right? So Ghislaine Maxwell knew who she was contracting. She was buying access to the highest reaches of political economic power in the United States and its senior partner in Tel Aviv. She knew that. That's what you're buying. That's what you're getting. It's not about the transcripts. It's not about, well, I can't really remember if this happened during the Clinton Foundation or after, and I don't know who was on. It's not that about it. It's buying access to the great decider. That's Donald J. Trump. So I think it's a foregone conclusion that she's on her way out. But that doesn't mean that we're going down in defeat. Court is still in session for us. Pardon me?
A few people have asked, where will the proceeds of Virginia's book go? Well, the majority of it will go to the publisher if it's a traditionally published deal.
Yeah, I didn't consider that question. Maybe there's a victims fund. I'm just guessing at this point. I'm sure Amy Wallace is going to get her fee. She probably has a percentage deal, the agents and all that. It's probably not going to be a lot of money involved. I just want to make sure that the editorial content itself is for real and not something that has been manipulated in her name.
On Kindle.
Yes, or kindled.
So if you traditionally publish a book, you get a small percent of what it's sold for, and then your literary agent gets a piece of that. So, for example, when I published my first book through Random House, it was a £10 book, and after everything, I was getting 38 pence a copy.
Oh,
so, it adds up if you're selling millions of books, of course, and I hope that Virginia's book does. Mm-hmm. And my understanding is she was married at the time of her unalivement. So I imagine, if the money's whatever royalties, the percentage of royalties that's going into her estate would probably go to the husband.
Could be. Are they still married? I thought there might have been a divorce or a separation or something. You know who would know her? The attorney for her estate would know the answer to this about where the proceeds would go.
Well, I think she was going through a divorce, wasn't she? Oh, no, you're right. She had split. She had split. She was not still married. She was reported to have lived with him and their children in North Perth, Australia, but she had separated from her husband earlier in 2025, and he was facing charges related to. Yeah, so according to this, then I'm just trying to find out if an actual divorce went through. Let's see. Looks like. Can't find out. Yeah, but that'll be interesting because that would determine where those royalties are going. In terms of the estate. All right. So Waffles Biscuits wants to know if Ghislaine is caught lying in her transcript, will she get more time?
Well, according to the agreement, and this is set out at the initial few minutes of the proffer agreement, it said that she's not in jeopardy for anything that she might say. If it's a misstatement or a misrepresentation, she got a free pass. So she could have lied her face off, and there'd be no repercussions for it. And she already is a convicted liar, a perjurer. Right. So let's just get over the reality that she's going to skate. That's going to happen. So we really should start focusing on what is going to be our response to that. Are we going to let the memory of Virginia Giuffre and the many, many other women and children who went unnamed, who were victimized by this system, right? That is our motivation to achieve justice for these unknown girls or boys or children underage, as well as the other victims of this whole system, because we want it to stop. We want it to end. We want justice.
So I watched a video by Dr. G about the Maxwell interview, and we're hopefully we're getting Dr. G on within the week. And he was pointing out that Maxwell's tendency to say something as if it was a fact, but then when she was questioned, for example, about Prince Andrew with something that was public record, she would change her answer because she realized that the person asking her the question, knew from the public record that something else was correct. So she'd just go from saying something the complete opposite to agree with what she was being corrected to.
Well, that brings me to this observation that I made by probably watching that same piece by Dr. G. He does the body language analysis. Is that the same person? Right.
Yeah.
But I'm arguing that Todd Blanche, because of his over-identification with class privilege and wealth, he comes from Brooklyn Night School, law school. He wants to be on that side. He wasn't interviewing her. He wasn't even questioning her. He was prompting. I'm talking about Todd Blanche. Todd Blanche was prompting Ghislaine Maxwell. It was not a Q&A situation. It was a prompting session. He was tutoring her.
Louise in the chat said that video has been removed by YouTube.
Oh, it has? The Dr. G one? Yeah.
Let me just double check that in my, because I just sent it to
it's pretty
Shane.
harmless. Yeah, it's not that.
Let's see. Epstein Friends Network. Everybody, Dr. G here. No. Oh, no. Yeah, that's a month-old one there. That's a month-old one. Yeah, it looks like it's forwarded to a month-old one now when you press on the link.
It's removed?
There was an error with the video. And then you tap it and it goes to a month-old one. Yeah, it looks like it is gone.
Oh, okay. I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably getting too much traffic and they pulled it. Well, this interview here, as soon as it goes live, I'm making a MP4 of a copy of it as a backup.
I think we've learned where to draw the line these days to prevent such disappearances of our videos.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Maxwell is blaming everything on Virginia, and a few people have asked whose name was blanked out, and that was Virginia's in some of it. Mm-hmm. They unredacted her boyfriend's name, but redacted hers. Can you please do some coverage on this as nobody else is? So basically, Waffles is asking about Maxwell blaming Virginia.
I didn't pick that up. It seems like she seemed to be oblivious or ignorant about anybody that walked into the facility there. She was playing dumb.
Did you hear the bit? Did you hear the bit where she went ad hominem on Virginia, talking about her being a druggie and all that kind of stuff?
I must have missed that. Is that page 95?
I don't know. I just remember it.
I'll have to go back. I'll have to go back and look at that. And if so, that's the most emotive that she was in the entire interview. She was very
bitter. She gave Virginia's backstory in her own interpretation of it. She was very bitter when she was describing Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry I missed that part.
That's all right. All right. So let's see. We did that one. I wonder. Listening to Maxwell made me feel sick. I wonder what percentage of what she said was factual. Not much. Not much. Oh, yeah, this is an interesting one because I was wondering why on earth has she just done this hypothetical situation about El Chapo and the Sinaloa cartel? And Agent Orange is asking, is that an attempt to steer the investigation in a different direction?
Yeah, that seems to be in the news now because the DOJ supposedly is coming up against the Latin American drug cartels coming in through the border. So, I don't recall that passage right there, but it seems like a diversionary move.
What it was when she was asked about Epstein's how he made his money, she just said, "Well, I'll give you an example. He set himself up as a collector of bad debts. For example, if Chapo had stolen $1 billion from the Sinaloa cartel, and that money had been laundered offshore, then Chapo could contact Giuffre, and Giuffre would find the money, and Chapo would give him a piece of the action." That's what she said.
That sounds like a far-fetched scenario.
Yeah.
Just like most of her conversation.
Do we know what's happened to Virginia's kids? I don't. No. I don't.
Yeah, and I think they should be left alone. You know, just kept out of the news.
So someone's asking about, did Maxwell express how she felt about what Giuffre did to the young girls? And she just dismissed it. I mean, she acknowledged she'd been convicted of it, but she was just like, yeah, I introduced massage ladies to him. They were in their 20s, professional massage ladies. I was never present when this stuff was going on. I mean, I may have been rubbing his foot when a girl was topless. That's the line she drew.
Right. And of course, none of them were underage. She kept underscoring that fact. So she lied all the way down the line. I mean, we have counter testimony by victims who have testified otherwise. But she has immunity. She's not going to be zapped for lying through her teeth to Todd Blanche.
What about the narrative she gave whereby, Giuffre was all sweetness and light when they met, but over time he became more deviant, but she distanced herself from him by then?
My gosh, I don't know. I mean, like I said, the Todd Grandy, his line of questioning and what came out of it sounds like softcore pornography more than anything else. They wanted just to bring out all these salacious overtones there so that we're going to be hung up on it.
All right, so we're nearly at the hour then. So in summary, Professor, I'm just going to try and give a summary of your thoughts, and then you can come in and let me know if I'm correct here. Then, so you're saying that the Maxwell interview was a farce, and that they're all in the same club, and that club is owned by intelligence, and the prime mover, you think, in this situation is Israel and Israel intelligence, and that they're all beholden to those forces, and no matter what they posture and gesture and pantomime, they're going to give us some red meat. It is all theatrics. They're all acting, and we're never going to get anything of any substance that's going to incriminate anyone higher than Giuffre and Ghislaine, because those people are part of the apparatus, and the apparatus must be protected at all costs.
Well, that's a superb summary. That captures exactly what I said. However, remember, there's a way out of this. And Donald J. Trump holds the key to it. He needs to throw himself at the mercy of the American and the world public by asking for forgiveness. Just get out ahead of it. And then we can start again. We can start anew.
But when you were saying that, most people in the chat were saying Trump would never do that. He never apologizes. He's narcissistic, etc. So does that mean that the Epstein story could burn the whole house down at some point?
Well, I don't think it's going to burn the whole house down, but I hold up hope that Trump will have a come to Jesus moment. If he doesn't, his name will go down in the historical annals in infamy. I don't think he wants that. I think now he's playing for historical memory. He wants to be remembered as the greatest president of the United States since George Washington. He's really aiming for that. It's very simple for him. He has to overcome his colossal ego. We know that. But you know what? If he does come forward and throws himself at the mercy of the American public, we're going to love him all the more for it.
Put a 1 in the chat, folks, if you think that scenario is likely. Trump's going to overcome his ego, throw himself at the mercy of the public. Put a 2 in the chat if you think it's going to be business as usual, and we're not going to get any justice for any survivors. No one higher up the ladder is ever going to be held to account. Put a 3 in the chat if you think the Epstein story could burn the whole house down, because the shenanigans they're pulling right now are just making them look absolutely like ludicrous, condescending hypocrites, talking to us like we're absolute idiots. And the people are not going to put up with it for much longer if it continues at this rate. Yeah, I think people are not as optimistic as yourself, Professor.
Well, I didn't say it was going to happen. I'm saying that this is what he needs to do in order to put his affairs straight. That's what he needs to do. I lean more towards the number 2 scenario because I'm a realist, but I'm also an active. Pardon me?
You called it with Diddy and Comey.
Yeah, but you know what? He might surprise us. Right. He dodged the bullet, right? Literally, Donald Trump did, right? He might surprise us and say, listen, I have a huge ego. I realize that finally. I want to bring us all together as Americans, and we're going to make it, we're going to set it straight. And then I'll be forgiven.
Do you think there's a fear factor from dodging the bullet, whereby he realizes he was this close to ending up like JFK? If he pushes the deep state any further, the bullet will hit next time?
Well, that might be in the back of his mind. He's only human, right? He knows that the crosshairs are trained on him, but I think he's playing for the historical gallery now. He's playing for the history books. And if he wants to be remembered as the great world leader that he was hoping for, then he's going to have to apologize. He start with just a modest apology. He can just climb down a little bit. He doesn't have to throw himself on the ground and rent his garments and mea culpa. He doesn't have to do that. He just start gently. And then eventually we're going to see a new person. It's going to be a makeover in the good sense of the word, right? Maybe I'm being overly optimistic. I don't know, but that's a scenario I think could happen, because we're not letting go of the story. It's not going to go away. No matter what they've tried, it's not. Even World War III is not going to stop. We're going to be sitting in the rubble, once Zelensky throws the drone missiles back at us that we sold him recently. We're going to be sitting in Rome and say, oh, what about the files? We want to see the files. And the cities, and it's been burnt to cinders, but we want to see the Epstein files.
So not going to go away. Professor Hamamoto has got 60,300 subscribers and 387 videos. Please subscribe. I've just put the link in the live chat. It's also in the description box if you're watching it. And he's got such gems posted recently, 19 hours ago. Brian C. Koberger and the Cult of Academic Criminology. 7 days ago, we've got Roger Corman and the Industrial Engineering of Social Psychopathy. 2 weeks ago, we've got Kabbalistic Dark Magic of Wellness, Maven Gwyneth Paltrow. Oh, God. I'm going to watch that one. And let's have a look. We've also got latest. Oh, you're doing more lives, aren't you, these days than actual videos? P Diddy was the latest video. Almost a year ago. Operation P Diddy on Intelligence Takedown. Yeah, so please subscribe to the Professor's channel. Here it is in the live chat. Huge thank you for all your questions. Huge thank you for the Professor for coming on. Any closing thoughts, my friend?
Peace and love, as Ringo Starr likes to say.
Oh, brilliant. All right, Yes, much love, everyone. I will let you go and close the show, and take care, my friend. Cheerio.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right, folks. Phenomenal interview with the professor as usual. Always look forward to speaking with him. Such a delight. And next up, we've got, and it's tomorrow, the next video actually. We have got, because of the Meghan Markle thing coming out, we have got Lauren is back at 7 p.m. with Markle Netflix show Exposed. And she did an expose on Jay-Z and Rock Nation last night. If you missed that one, please check it out. Baby Ziggy has just come burst into the room. But one in the chat if you want to see Baby Ziggy wave goodbye to you. Before I sign off, for the two in the chat, if you don't want to see Baby Ziggy. Baby Ziggy sounds like he wants to come on. Oh, Barbara's coming back as well. Ex-model, Surviving Epstein's Black Book Part 2. And that is August 29th at 9 p.m. Babe, oh, he's here. He's here. Come on, little man. Come on, little man. Look at this. Do you want to wave? Do you want to wave to everybody? Look at him. Do you want to give him a wave? Ticky, 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 ticky. Give him a wave. Give him a wave, Ziggy. Give him a wave. Give him a wave now. Look at that little boy. Woo, woo, woo. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye, viewers. Bye-bye. Right, let me turn this. Let me end this. Oh, thank you, everyone. We'll hope to see some of you with Lauren on Markle.